You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. It's May. It's going to be May. It's May. It's here. We are in a new month. And the first half of this month is going to be a lot. I already know it is. We're what, 2 weeks away from the May 16th primary in Philadelphia. So for those who observe, you already know we're going to be close to casting our votes. This has been a long ass mayoral cycle, as you all know. Some of y'all who followed the podcast last year remember how crazy it was dealing with all the madness around Fetterman and, Connor Lamb and all of that. But this cycle, man, has been a shit show. It has been nothing but a shit show. And so much. And we'll be talking more about it in the episode. But for those who are listening, around this time, if you're one of my early, what I call the core 200 listeners who listen early, some of y'all may be listening super, super early, but if you are, around this time, you'll be hearing me, probably seeing me at Citizens Park. There is, on, of course, May 1st, a baseball event that I'm going to be a part of. Yes, me and baseball. Whoever thought? But yeah, there's a baseball event that I'm going to be a part of. So basically, it's Hard Hats for Heart Home Run Derby, which is a media event that I'm participating in. So they call it's the annual home run derby competition at Citizens Park Bank. So it's early in the morning. I'm not really a morning person, as you all can imagine, but it's for a good cause. So the Philadelphia chapter of the American Heart Association asks for someone like myself to help continue to spread the awareness and prevent heart disease and stroke. And a lot of the work that, I'll be helping to do and spreading awareness is to help impact and influence Philadelphians and others in the community to really, get involved. So I'll be there. It's a media competition. I'm attempting to get this coveted home run derby trophy, which I don't know if my team's going to get it. Team PABJ, we're going to put our all into it, but we got to get up early in the morning. Last year, CBS 3 won. So, PABJ was invited this year to come out. We're going to put it all through. So I did something I haven't done in like 10 years, which some of y'all probably saw my Instagram. I bought sneakers for the first time, or where I'm from, we say tennis shoes, but I got some shoes. It's been a while. I'm a loafers, Crocs, boots girl. I don't really tennis shoes. I mean, they're cute, but I just, where do one go in sneakers? I saw people out here at the White House correspondence dinner or whatever, wearing sneakers and suits. I think that is tacky. We'll talk more about that later, but I just, no. If you're going to wear a suit, you're going to wear loafers, you're giving me a good dress shoe, you're giving me something. Like, what are we doing? But not everybody was raised right. So I've had tennis shoes. People are like, well, how do you work out? Bitch, I don't work out. Like, I don't. I just don't. So sneakers and me have never really been cool. But I bought a nice pair, 990s from New Balances. They were really cute. They're around 200, which I was like, I guess that's a good deal. But it was a nice shoe. I mean, I didn't really like anything else that was there, and I didn't really want to do Nike. I wanted something that just felt like me and comfortable. So those shoes were cute. I got them at the Foot Locker in Center City downtown, and they fit really good on my feet. They're really nice. I don't know if you all will ever see me in them, because like, where would I go in sneakers? Like, where? But I definitely like them. And there's a brand new gym in my building, so I might take them out for a stroll there. But yeah, I was like, well, I do want to participate in this baseball event. And I do want to be on the field. And so, getting sneakers is important for that, right? Right. I know. I'm just, yes. But like, What I do wear outside typically are flip flops or Crocs if I'm not wearing something dressed up for an event. Um, that's just what it is. I love me some Crocs though. Listen, Crocs are in. I don't care if people don't like Crocs. Clearly, y'all like Crocs because Crocs made a comeback during the pandemic and they haven't went anywhere. And I love the Croc flip flops too. Those are real cute, like the nice little neon colors. They really go well with the types of nails I get done. So that is what I've been wearing. These sneakers, you're never going to see me in these sneakers. I just, I took a picture. That's the only time you're going to see the sneakers. I'm not hitting the streets in them. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. So I don't want to get you all excited. Um, period. But you know. So hopefully, wish us luck, wish us luck, Either way, we're going to be there for a good cause with the Philly fanatic. Some of the Phillies folks will be there. We're all there to support the Philadelphia chapter of the American Heart Association. So, let's see what happens. But, I'm not the sportiest girl, but, the team, we're there for teamwork. It's all for a good cause. My inner competitiveness is not coming out, especially when it comes to athleticism. I'm a mind man. I'm not but we'll see. Who knows? Somebody on the team might surprise us and run. But listen, we're just gonna have a good time and just support a good cause. So we're excited about that. So I'm kicking off May, clearly doing a lot of things, but again, it's for a good cause. I have to get up early, early, early in the morning, like 6 a.m. in the morning. But I care about the cause, and I want to help my friend out. So there I go. Outside of that, I went on Piers Morgan last week. Again, the third time I've made a Piers Morgan appearance. They can't get enough of me over there in the UK. And clearly Piers Morgan. This time he was on the show and we was discussing that new Cleopatra movie that's coming out on Netflix that's been getting a lot of controversy because people have been debating, oh, is she, Cleopatra was black or Greek or whatever. And there's this comedian from, that is Egyptian. He is very much so against this black Cleopatra actress. There's been vernacular being used across the sea of blackwashing, which is not a thing, almost like saying reverse racism. But I went on the show and I just said, listen, I just think that to put all this energy essentially in this black actress playing Cleopatra when, arguably history would be more in favor of a blacker Cleopatra compared to a white character. He was very much, critical of really. It was very anti-black. I just got a lot of anti-blackness from his response. It was very much so like, oh, black people want to claim Egypt and all these different symbols, but they're not from here. They're from West Africa. Egyptians and Africa are different. And he was, speaking about Northern Africa. And while there might be, I mean, I guess that might be the reality now, it seems to be anti-black. It's giving anti-black. I just think it's interesting that he was very big on color tone and just had this anger. And it's like, well, listen, Elizabeth Taylor played, Cleopatra. Gal Gadot played Cleopatra years ago. Didn't see all of that complaint about her, even though she's Israeli, even though Elizabeth Taylor was British. It was interesting that there wasn't this anger, but then a black woman plays Cleopatra, and now everybody wants to, go up in arms and make these sweeping, allegations. So I was on the end of just simply saying that I just don't think that the way in which this is being discussed is productive, and also it's a fucking Netflix documentary. It's like, what are we talking about here? And I don't even think it's much of a documentary. It's more like a documentary type of film, but just the press that's on the skin color and tone. It's like, oh, if this character would have been played by someone else, there would have been that level of black backlash and or what I would say blacklash. But it was very interesting. And so it was fun to be on there and talk my shit. And guess what? The Case for Cancel Culture got in the top 10 of the Amazon and respective categories. Every time I make an appearance on these channels, the book gets exposure. The people want to read more and check it out. So it's been a very interesting experience being in the author realm because a lot of times the book just talks for itself. I mean, what else can I say? The rest is pretty much ancient history. I mean, it was interesting because a lot of people had a lot to say. There was a lot of people from Egypt, I guess, that were supporters of the guy who was like coming at me left and right on the DMs, and I, put a lot of protectors up on my social media. To just stop some of the ignorance, but you get that level of fandom and standom that comes, and you get used to it. I mean, I tell people all the time that my career was born in the era of social media. So I don't know a world where people didn't have opinions and people weren't acting crazy online. A lot of my older colleagues in the industry oftentimes, are like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't have a Twitter account. I have this. Well, to be online as a journalist is crucial because that's where the people are. People like to throw shots about social media and say the real work is on the ground. Listen, there are two grounds, okay? There's a digital ground and the ground, and both of those grounds are very important in this day and age when it comes to giving information, because what people take off the internet is what they apply to the ground. Duh. So when I see people make certain shots in these political spaces about, oh, we're doing the grassroots in the ground, not in the Twitter streets, shut the fuck up about Twitter. Shut the fuck up about Facebook and Instagram, because all of y'all asses are literally posting the shit on social media for likes and for clicks. So what part? Which one? Which one, baby? Because you literally post the stuff to let people know that you're doing it, and then people see it on a wider scale, and that inspires and shapes their mind. And the gag is that in this day and age, it's show and tell. Like, if you're not showing people what you're doing, people don't think you're doing it. And that does matter in politics. And it matters in a lot of places. There's a lot of people that are like, people don't know all the things I do. Well, how are we supposed to know? And in a world where black women and black and brown queer folks and everybody else are oftentimes invisible or erased, it's even more important for us to let people know what we do. I don't give a fuck if people think it's cocky or bragging, because in reality, it's just me basically letting people know every day that I exist. Because if I don't, then people will say I won't. What does it look like to be born in a society where people expect nothing of you? Like, that's deep. And I'm going to go deeper. Like, what does it look like to be born in a society as a black man or a black woman, and completely no one expects anything of you? They don't expect you to amount to anything. They don't expect you to achieve anything. So you're starting off in a world where people don't even see you or even expect anything from you. So when you walk in a room and tell people what you do, they're in awe and shock because they really don't expect you to have done anything. And then you have motherfuckers that will even go further to say, well, where's the receipts? Where's the proof? And then that's when you have to let people know what's up. And that's unfair. Yes, life's not fair, and we shouldn't have to do that. But if you want to move in society and advance, sadly, these are the breaks. And this is what has to happen. And so when I hear people who are white, when I hear people that are cishet, that are in positions of privilege, say, do less. Well, yeah, because you don't have to do anything, and people think you've done the most. It's true. Like, there are people who walk around with this sense of entitlement and this sense of confidence and haven't done a goddamn thing to earn it. And then there's people like me and others who have to literally do the utmost to get credit for about half or the least of what we deserve. That's inequity. And that's why when I hear a lot of young black people that I mentor or that are in my space that are like, oh, I like to be low key. Listen, baby, don't be low key, because you are already low key. We as a community are low key as a group. If you think that being loud is going to make you the loudest, oftentimes you're going to only be half as loud as you think you are to get the things that you deserve. So if you come in the room already trying to humble, quote unquote, yourself and belittle your accomplishments and downplay your success, you're already muting what's already on silent. Like, listen to me, hear me. It's real. A lot of people I'm friends with, I've had to tell them, listen, you got to get out there. You got to talk your shit up. You got to correct people. You got to let people know what your work is. You got to defend your work, because your work is your existence. Sadly, we live in a fucked up society that do not see us as humans solely. They look at us by our work and our actions and what we do. And if no one knows what you do, then you don't exist. And I'm not saying that this is right or fair or just. I'm telling you what fucked up society we live in. And to the white people who feel some type of way, this is your fault. Because you literally erase black people in history books, you erase black people in your boardrooms, you erase black people in any type of real, legitimate, equitable conversations. And then the black people who are qualified and do have the talent, do have the work, we literally have to do 1,000 acrobats and backflips in order to be seen. And you can see this all across the industry. The most exceptional black people are the only ones visible. And then that's why I don't really be critical of mediocre talent in the industry. I mean, if we're talking about entertainment for a little bit as a metaphor, people are always like, Rihanna can't sing. You know what? Rihanna may not be the best singer, but you know what? She's a success story for somebody who was able to just be good and still get great. When we see a bunch of mediocre white ass artists that are literally not good, that are getting great. We live in a world where Beyonce can do all of the most incredible things and people think she's overrated. They think Beyonce is overrated, even though a lot of their faves are completely not even rated. And yet, for what she does at her level, people don't even see that as extraordinary because they're so used to seeing black people have to be 10 times, 7,000 times great in order to get the same shit that some mediocre person done did and got. Don't even get me started. Even in my career, okay, as a black political journalist, as a young millennial queer journalist, I have no peers hardly in this industry. And the ones I do, we are literally out here slaying the game amongst the most mediocre ass people who are doing the bare fucking minimum in their reporting, that are literally funded and given way more money than we are given huge grants, okay, getting top tier promotions, and they don't know shit. They are surface level. They're whack. We're Serena Williams. We're going over them in circles, and they can't even take it. And people are like, the community is like, what the fuck y'all doing? Where y'all at? You know, I'm over here literally Serena and Venus. I'm in circles with these people. Just like, where y'all at? Are y'all not reading? Do y'all not know? Like, do y'all not care? Is it that y'all don't get paid enough to do it? Or what is it, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like in this industry, in all industries, you could apply this to higher education. You can apply this to medicine and science. You can apply this to social justice work. But like the most mediocre people who oftentimes are not women, who are oftentimes not queer people, who are not black or brown, those individuals, right? White people largely, right? Men, cishet men, are oftentimes dominating the space and doing the bare fucking minimum. And they're not even doing that. And they're getting slaps on the wrist and passes up and down just to be around. So don't ever tell me or ever expect me to turn anything down or low, because if I do that, I literally am self-sabotaging myself. So you're going to get all these tweets. You're going to get all these praise reports. You're going to get all my bragging. You're going to get all my confidence, because quite frankly, these are the things I have to do in a world that do not necessarily give me access to that type of support outside of my family, my friends, and my core group. I walk in the world invisible. I literally have to make myself seen while also being a regular person, because quite frankly, black excellence as a lifestyle is overrated. You know, sometimes people just want to be fucking regular. I would love to know what it's like to just be chilling. To be regular in society as a black person is literally non-existent. We literally have to be superheroes, robots, Beyonce, every other thing just to get a livable wage, to get paid what we're deserved. And even then, we're still not in some cases, but we have to literally do a lot of things before we get to that space. So when I walk in certain rooms and I'm met with attitude, I don't tolerate it. When I'm walking certain rooms and people are looking at me like, what are you doing here? What the fuck are you doing here? I move that shit right the fuck back. What are you doing here? Why are you here? What do you do? Because you can Google what I do. What do you do? We need to start reversing that question on people when they just ask us stuff like that. It's highly disrespectful, and it's always a microaggression. I don't care what anybody said. Okay, it is a microaggression. I've gotten that at times, inspecting me, interrogating me like it's a Wendy Williams interview. I don't understand. They like Mariah said, they be all up in my business like a Wendy interview. It's just like, what is all of this? But you have to push back respectfully, or not. But no, I just I don't know. I just felt like I just wanted to go there because sometimes people be showing their ass. But moving along, the CBS 3 debate, I DVR'd it, I watched it. It was cool because this version was only an hour long. And for those who watch both versions, the one on CBS 3 or the one on Philly Cam that was streaming on the YouTube, both versions on YouTube, by the way, the CBS 3 Mayoral form, you can look that up. It's on YouTube. It's 1 hour long, and that's the version that just goes right into the debate itself or the forum. It doesn't have the pre-show element to it that I did. I like both versions. I feel like both versions have a purpose. I mean, they're literally the same thing, but one version, the CBS version, what's cool about that version is that it's 1 hour long. It's straight up. It gets into the throes of the hot questions. It starts off with Yuki Washington introducing the show. And then what's great about it is that it includes audience reactions to certain moments in the debate, which was really fun. So there is one that has become like a little meme of my brother, my husband, my brother's girlfriend, and one of my lit brothers, Gio. They're all in there and they have a reaction of just something that was going on. And their facial expressions are just hilarious. And people were just running with that all week. Some famous people were sharing it on Twitter. And it was quite the spark. I said, look at this meme life. Yvette Nicole Brown, that actress, she shared it and said, and a new reaction means moment has begun. And the hashtag was "Come on, fam," which is basically the energy of their face, like what's going on. It's really good. So people were sharing it. I shared on Instagram. If you haven't seen it, you can go on my Instagram and scroll down and see Yvette Nicole Brown's tweet. She's a great actress, and she's dope. So yeah, I enjoyed the forum, watching it in that way. It was fabulous. I also saw C-SPAN. If you have not seen the C-SPAN talk, I saw it, I watched it, I DVR'd it. And it was some great people from all over that seen it. One of my mentors in college, who I love to death, Dr. Miss Trish is how I call her. She was the dean at the Du Bois College House at the University of Pennsylvania. She's one of my favorite people ever. I tell my friend, soon to be Dr. Parks, that no one messes with Dr. Miss Trish, and Miss Trish is everything. And I did that just to pick at her, but I love me some Miss Trish, and a lot of people who went to Penn, who lived in Du Bois College House back in the day in those early years, she has since moved on, but she was there, and everybody know Miss Trish. Listen, Miss Trish was and is a tough cookie, but she meant well. And it's something about older women that can get you together, but also do so in a way that is with love. And I love her for that, because she got me together in a good way. And she also was just a lovely woman, and just still is. And so she actually DM'd me over the weekend and said she saw my C-SPAN interview. And I was like, what? You saw those? But I mean, that makes sense because Book TV is dope. But she said she saw it, and I was like, wow. And I didn't know who all was seeing it, but it is now available online to watch. So if you go to my link tree on Instagram and Twitter, if you click my bio link, you can see that interview I did with Piers Morgan, the most recent one, and you can also see the C-SPAN interview, and you can also see the Meryl Candace forum. I think that's also still in my link tree, but that's also on YouTube as well. But the C-SPAN and the Piers Morgan interview, those are all in the link tree, in the link, because y'all be always like, where can I see this? Give me the link, drop the link. The links are in the bio. I always try to put in the bio. So if you want to see something that you see a clip of or something I post, 9 times out of 10, it is available to watch by clicking the link in the link tree. So it's always there. But yeah, I mean, this weekend was pretty chill. I hung out with some of my faves from Penn, some older alum that had known over the years. They were in town. There was a lot going on. There was the Links conference. It's the Links is a black women's group, a nonprofit. They do service. They're not a fraternity or they're clearly not a fraternity. They're not a sorority. They're just a large women's group. If you think of Masons, like Masons are not a fraternity, but there are people who are AKs and Deltas that are a part of the Links. And this is for women, but it's not a sorority group. But they had a conference in Philadelphia and this weekend, and it was dope. Now, let me just, not that I'm throwing shade, but I just want to put this out there. Council President Daryl Clark gave remarks at the reception on Thursday, and it was a little cringy, y'all. He tells these women, "Oh, I didn't even know who y'all were. I just looked y'all up on Google before he gives a speech." He's literally telling them this. And he's like, "Oh, y'all like a sorority or whatever," and just completely did not know who the Links were. And it was a little cringy. I know he's about to retire and about to, get out of politics, but sir, you got a couple of more months, man. Just hold it in. Just hold it in. Just hold it in. Trust me, the ladies felt some type of way about it, of course. But from one of the women I was hearing from. But we was at the Ritz Carlson on a Saturday night being cute. We was at the bar chilling. Okay. It wasn't like that kind of cute. Let me be very clear. But we was there, we was drinking. And we was at the bar. Let me tell you something about Ritz Carlson bar. A lot of people go and I'm no new, I'm no newbie to it. But you can see a couple of interesting characters. You just got to pull you up a little seat, sit your ass down, and have a good old time. But it's interesting. Everybody be at the Ritz Carlson. Let me just say that everybody be at the Ritz Carlson. If you want to see some mess on a weeknight or whatever, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, go to the Ritz Carlson. There's some interesting characters there. But I went, they have some great drinks. My favorite drink there is the guava. It's the guava sidecar. That is incredible. And I don't even like sidecars by themselves because the cognac is a little too tart. But this guava one with this passion fruit taste it has to it. Oh, it has that nice level of burn and sweet and tangy, like this sweet but fruity base. Oh my God, it's a great drink. And it's in a beautiful glass with a sugar rim. But it was lovely. It was a lovely drink. I think I had about 3 of those. But they were good. And then I also just had a burger, and I also had these cheesesteak empanadas. Ooh, those cheesesteak empanadas were really, really good. Were they empanadas or egg rolls? They were not egg rolls. They were cheesesteak empanadas. Yes, they were cheesesteak empanadas. Incredible, divine. It's a place. To be honest, I know Aquamina is like the restaurant part of that hotel. I think they do the catering or do the food there. So Aquamina has had it up and down. I've been around. I've seen that place yo-yo over the past like 5 or 6 years. You just don't know what you're gonna get with them. But what I would say is you don't really want to do a serious meal there. You want to get bites. You want to do a burger. You want to do, a club. They had a turkey club on the menu. You want to do something cute. Don't try to do the big, huge, like, oh, I'm going to get the salmon or that oven chicken. My homegirl was not here for it. Don't try to do a meal there. Go for comfortable food. They do a really good job with comfort food with a twist. And the cocktails are just strong as hell and good and potent. And the bar over there look, they're earning them tips, some high-end tips. It's a great spot. We was there chilling and catching up about life and everything. Because also Penn Relays was this weekend. And it was also Philly Black Pride. So let me just explain something to y'all. See, this is when I go into my lived experience bag. For any Black queer man in Philadelphia, the Penn Relays week coupled with the Philly Black Pride is literally nothing for taking people. Okay, if you're spoken for, you don't go out. It's just, unless you have an open relationship, and I'm not judging. But for monogamous couples and couples, there's nothing for us out there in those streets. Listen, as someone who know that era very well back in my single era, there is nothing out there for married people, okay? All of my married, monogamous, queer folk, it's just nothing out there, baby. It's a hot mess. So, this weekend was very cute. I didn't really go out, see anything, because this is the thing about me. Like, I have no interest. I love my husband. I have no interest in anybody. I'm literally like, it's just like, I have no interest in anyone but who I'm with. But I say that to say that if I was to go out, right, if I come from this mindset that don't go to a singles place if you're not single. Like, Granted, this is not victim blaming people or anything like this. Let me be clear. If I'm single, if I'm in a relationship and I'm at a place where there are people that are gonna be horny, high, drunk, hungry, a combination of what I just said, or maybe one or the other, there's no reason for me to go there if I'm not offering anything to the table. Whether that's my number, my ass, my interest, my myself to dance, nothing, no business, no interest. And this is not to warrant people harassing people or anything like that. Absolutely not. We're talking about consensual behavior. There's no place for any type of inappropriate behavior outside of that. Let's be clear. But like, I remember years ago when I first was dating Mr. Johnson, and I went out with a friend just to make sure they was at the club. They wanted me to come with them. And I said, I'll go out and support you, girl. They wanted to go out and dance and stuff. So we went out to the club. And the whole night, I just had to just kind of just be, hi, yeah, I got a boo, They was all like, no ring, because I wasn't engaged in. I was like, yeah, I know I got no ring, but I'm good. But I had to do that. And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person. I just don't want to be that person. Some people think that shit is cute. I don't. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person that's like, every time if then I'm at the wrong club or I need to get a private section. So then as I got older, that's what we did. We just got a private section. That was the don't fuck with us section of the club. We just had our little booth. But like, that was what I do. 9 times out of 10 now, what's funny is that I don't even go to the club like that. I rarely do. I probably go to the club maybe let me clarify the club, because some of y'all gonna say, but Ernest, I saw you and Jamarcus. Let's back up. Non-media sponsored private party events. Let's put a disclaimer there, because you might catch me at assembly or whatever. Not even half. 90% of the time when I'm at those spaces, it is an event. It's a media event. I'm there with influencers. I'm there with, a close knit of people I know. It's not really like a public event open to the public. Just to be clear, it oftentimes is those types of events. But every blue moon, there might be a friend or someone who was like, oh, I'm having a birthday party or I'm having a situation here. Come through. And so then I go to the club and then, it's there. And let me just also say this. The way that these clubs are set up now, I don't need to go to a gay club to get hit on. Let me tell you something. These straight clubs, listen, the fluidity is there, baby. I don't even know why the straights and took over the gay bars in the neighborhoods. So the gays that came to straight clubs and took them up to, everybody's taking over the club now. There's no wall anymore. Like the whole, oh, this club is for straight, ladies on. Child, please. Them men be looking at girls, boys, and everything else. Everybody be looking at everybody, okay? It is not like that anymore. I've noticed, from what I've noticed. Maybe, I don't know if it's pretty politics, I don't know what it is. But when I go to any club, it be energy, clearly. The clubs do not segregate or discriminate as much, at least in Philly. I mean, there's always those little hole in the walls that are just simply homophobic. But a lot of these general Philadelphia nightclubs, oh, child, you could be gay as hell, go into a straight club over there, one of these little nightclubs, and get chose, okay? And maybe the man that's trying to choose you, he may not be out, but he want to get a number anyway. So I've seen enough, and I've heard enough, So it's giving what it's giving, okay? But back in the day, and what I still hear now is that Philly Black Pride with pin relays was just a lot for us, because you had the Jamaican runners, some of the boys, listen, they was traveling to Philly. They was here for 2-3 nights. They was here to dip and dip. You know what I mean? And they would be on the little dating apps and they would be like, look, I'm here at this place. And you knew where they were staying because it was only a couple of hotels. They would be at the Home Suites or they'd be at the Sheraton. Okay. They would be in one of the hotels in University City. You knew if they was over there, oh, these are Penn Relay boys. Then you also had the Philly Black Pride events. They had the clubs, the nights. They would do it in they used to call it gayvasion, where it would be like a gay group would rent out a straight club downtown or something and turn into a gay night. And so you had them clubs and parties, and some of them Penn Relay boys would be at them parties. And one thing comes to another and you find yourself out with the guys. So it would be a lot going on, okay? It would never be that much black men in one space, that much queerness, hotness, attractiveness in one space. But that weekend, or this past weekend, was that weekend. I would tell the girls, listen, baby, if your boyfriend tell you he out of town, baby, if he say he's in Philly from the last week of April, and he said he out with his boys. Baby, you don't want to know what it's giving, honey. You don't want to know what it's giving. So, oh, I had a moment one time with one girl years ago. Told me, she said, "Oh, my dude, he's gonna be with his friends, for the weekend." I say, "Where he say he going?" Oh, he said he going to Philly for some event. What event? They say the relays, but then you also got, I forgot this element. Then you also got doing the relays, the step shows. So you have all these Kappas and Alphas and Qs and all these boys. They come to Penn too, and they do the little step shows and all that. But see, and they throw their little parties. But see, a lot of them linger too. Because when I went to Penn, especially being a Penn alum, but when I was at Penn at that time, I remember how there was a lot of energy on campus. So it was never that hard for me to catch trade. If you don't know what trade is, go look it up. But it was never hard for me to get trade during Relays weekend because I was already on the campus. So it was even easier, actually. But man, oh man, oh man. Listen, Jamarcus, I used to listen, a ball, I tell you, a ball. But I think when you get older, like I'm 31 now. Ooh, older. I don't know. When I got into my like late 20s, it just, I don't know. I just felt like the club scene and night scene got corny. I don't know if it's because people don't dance anymore, the music sucks now, or just you can only do so much of that before it gets played out. Especially when we found out how bad hookah was, because we used to love hookah back in the day. Hookah is horrible. Don't do hookah. Don't partake. Go Google why hookah is bad. But when we was younger, hookah was like the thing to do at the club. You had the section seats, and you had the drinks going, and you had all the chasers, and hookah was there. Oh my gosh, it was a lot. But those were the days. So outside of all of that, I enjoyed my book, all the book buzz that's been happening. I've been dropping bombs on y'all all this past week. So as you all know, my Philly corrupt and consenting talk with the author Brett Mandel is coming May 11th. It is epic. The free library dropped the information, dropped the RSVP link, and y'all know where to find it in my link tree, the link in my bio on Twitter, Instagram. You can RSVP. It is a free event. I'll be signing copies of my book, The Case for Council Culture, and Brett, my good Brett, will be there signing copies of his brand new book, which drops on this week. It drops May 5th. I believe it drops this week. But the following week, which is next week, we will be in conversation talking about all of the things that's been going on. So you all do not want to miss it. It's going to be lit. I'm super excited. It's going to be on next Thursday at the free library, okay, around 6 o'clock, 6:30. RSVP free event. Let me tell you all right now, let me get y'all together real early. If you are coming, do not come with no book. You already know that it is bad luck and bad business to come to a person's book signing with a book. You buy a new book or you buy the book there, but do not come with another person's book at their book signing. This is Brett's first big book signing. He needs no introduction. Please Google him. He took on the sheriff's office, Sheriff Rochelle Bilal. He got wrongfully terminated about a couple of days after he started working for her, when she started her first term, which is her current term, and he sued the city and got a $500,000 settlement. Now, you've never heard of stories of people suing the city and getting that much money. He wasn't even in the job for a full month or something, but got kicked out within a couple of days because he was trying to speak truth to power and hold these people accountable. And because he did that, he faced retaliation pretty much. And he sued the city and basically took on the sheriff's office and got over a $500,000 settlement. Okay, 6 figures. So he's got a book out now called Philadelphia Corrupt and Consenting, and he's talking about the history of corruption in Philadelphia. And who is better to tell that story than Brett, outside of myself? But Brett is living by experience, taking action and calling people out as they see it. Such a very bold story, and even just exciting. I'm so happy to be promoting the book. I'm really hype. I don't know if y'all can tell by the way I'm talking, but the great thing is, and I'm going to read it again because I really just cannot emphasize enough how big this is and just how excited I am to be a part of it. So his book is published by Temple University Press. And I did a review that is published on the actual back of the book. It's hardback. And this is what my review says. At a time when our city is at a political crossroads, Mandel's book arrives not a moment too soon. Philadelphia, Corrupt and Consenting is the most riveting assessment of our city's infamous history of political corruption. Mandel leaves no stone unturned as he peels back the layers of how a local culture of complicity has led us to witnessing constant federal probes, indictments, and convictions. This is a must read for any concerned citizen, regardless of political affiliation. Yeah, it's that serious to me. This book is epic. And I cannot wait to be in conversation with him at the Free Library. While I was on my book tour, that was a place I really wanted to go to, but it has so many bookings. And to be able to have an opportunity to sell my book there and also promote and also, really, talk to the man of the hour, Brett, is going to be great. One good thing about this book event too, just for people who don't know, that the book distributor for this book is Uncle Bobby's Books. So it is supporting a Black-owned bookstore in Philadelphia. Uncle Bobby's, which is owned by Mark Lamont Hill, is located in Germantown, which I just heard this weekend that you all have sold out of books. You all bought the last batch came in, shipment came, and y'all went in there and bought the books out. So now Mark has said to me directly that more books are coming on the way. So if you're in Germantown, in that area, if you're in the Northwest, and you like to go to Uncle Bobby's and you're like, where is Ernest's book? More books are coming. All of the autographed signed copies that were there have officially sold out. We did a big sellout there, book signing. People lost their mind and had a good time. So shout out to you all for buying the book, keeping up with it. These books are flying off the shelves. We're doing our thing. Barnes & Noble in Center City. I'm coming at y'all later this month in May. I am going to be doing a special book signing there at Barnes & Noble's in Philly. So if you can't make it to the May 11th event, or you just want to just see me solo, by all means, I'll be in Rittenhouse at the Barnes & Noble on 17th and Chestnut. The date is coming soon, but it's going to be the following week. So it won't be the week of May 11th. It'll be the following week. And I'm thinking it's going to be after the election. I think my goal is to have it. I want to do the event after the election because I'm really over this election on so many different levels. But just stay tuned for that. And other great news before I get on with the hot topics, because I know there's a lot of things y'all want to get into with me. I announced alongside with the creator that there is going to officially be a Philly bookstore crawl. You were like, huh? I know about this. I like it. What is that? Okay. So you know how there are like beer crawls all across Philly? Like basically they put a bunch of nearby places together that have beers and beer specials and you can just go to different ones and drink your way through. I mean, I don't recommend that and I don't like beer, but let's just like almost like trick-or-treating, like there's a bunch of candies or, whatever. There's a crawl. There is now going to be a Philly bookstore crawl. But basically, there's going to be a bunch of books along, I think Old City is included, but there's a map. But there's going to be a nice little route of bookstores, local indie bookstores. Over 20 indie bookstores, independent bookstores in Philadelphia are participating. I'm a part of the organizing of this event. I'm managing all the social media. So if you've been seeing my posts, if you've been following the pages, I am helping to really get the word about through the marketing end of it. Eric Smith, I just talked about him a couple of weeks ago, who just had that book first year orientation, and you all know he's been a big pivotal role in my success as an author in this industry, in this market. He is leading the charge on this. He's called me to be on board to help get the word out and spread and just get people to go. It's free. There'll be book deals. There'll be book deals. There'll be book sales. There'll be like special deals on books. There'll be book talks, special guests, giveaways. It's gonna be all types of shit. It's gonna be super, super lit. And it's gonna be on Saturday, August 26th. So we got, about 3 months away. Or less than 3 months away now. We announced this on national Indie Bookstore Day, which supports independent, bookstores. Okay, these are not the big corporate conglomerates, even though I love me a corporate conglomerate, boom, like a Barnes and Nobles. But this is supporting independent bookstores like Harriet's, like Uncle Bobby's, like so many other stores that are in the city, like Giovanni's books. All these smaller niche bookstores, they are participating and they're working with us to help spread the word. So we really encourage you all to take advantage of this special day. It's the first one. We want to make it an annual event, but it's going to jumpstart and kickstart this year. So go to the website, which is www.phillybookcrawl.com. We're at Philly Book Crawl on Twitter and Instagram. I'm running those accounts. So follow us. The social media has been buzzing. The followers have been increasing. We're doing really, really good. And it's a lot of you all already who listen to this podcast are already following the pages and keeping up. So stay tuned there for updates, but check out the website, send it to your friends, and just, save the date for August 26th, Saturday, August 26th. We are going to be in the building and across all buildings in Philadelphia, pushing books. So, I'm going to be there, Case of Council Culture going to be in the house. So it's going to be dope. So let's get on with it. The White House Correspondents' Dinner was on Saturday. They call it the Nerd Prom. It's basically a dinner where a lot of mainstream media, come from, mostly people who cover politics largely, but there's also celebrities and special guest appearances, elected officials, all these people come in one room, and it's the one time they can all kind of apparently let their hair down and laugh at each other and make jokes, and it's not a space for them to have to act all stuffy. But let's be clear, some of the people in there still be stuffy because they're never going to break character. But a lot of the other journalists there have a good time and have fun. Independent bad bitches like me don't even get invited. They don't let me into the club, girl. They can't take my mouth. But I do recognize a couple people I do know who do go and partake in all that. But it's really like the DC elite, to be honest. It's the DC, the Washington Post, all of that elite that be in that building. And some of them, they're only in there based on label affiliation. A lot of them are not really doing any cutting edge journalism or making a shift. They're just kind of just floating. But because of the company, that they're working for, that gives them access. And you know how I feel about that as a journalist, y'all. But I try to keep it cute. I have no other choice. I keep it professional. But that's the culture. But the host who killed it last night, Saturday night, he killed it. I'm still laughing at Roy Wood Jr. I'm actually going to play the clip that had me laughing the most because he's hilarious.
Person is claiming you are trying to erase black people, and a lot of black people wouldn't mind some of that erasure as long as that black person is Clarence Thomas. A billionaire named Harlan Crow is flying Clarence Thomas all over the world on unreported trips, like an Instagram model, taking Clarence to the Maldives and the beaches and all. Paid for his mama's house, this billionaire. Paid for Clarence Thomas' mama's house. I gotta give it up to billionaires. Billionaires, boy, y'all are relentless. Y'all always come up with something new to buy. Like, just when you think of everything you could buy on Earth, a billionaire will come up with a new thing. Y'all buy space rockets, you bought Twitter. This man bought a Supreme Court justice. Do you understand how rich you have to be to buy a black one on top of that? There's only 2 in stock. And Harlan Crow owns half the inventory. We can all see Clarence Thomas, but he belongs to billionaire Harlan Crow. And that's what an NFT is.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. This is hilarious. God, I couldn't stop watching that. He kills it. Roy Wood Jr. is hilarious. It's on they you know what's funny? It's on C-SPAN, y'all. And apparently they ran my book talk right after C-SPAN or after that. So that's why a lot of people, I think, who was watching the Correspondence Dinner end up seeing my book talk. Talk about cross promotion, man. But it was on C-SPAN. That's when they air it. But it's on YouTube now. So you can look up basically the White House Correspondence Dinner and see what it's giving. But Roy Wood Jr. is hilarious. If you don't know, he is a correspondent actually on The Daily Show, which used to be hosted by Trevor Noah. I want him to be the permanent host. I think Roy Wood Jr., the permanent host of The Daily Show, should happen, because he's funny. And, he should just be the permanent host. I feel like that should happen. I mean, people's been talking about him, but, he made his debut for the same day that Trevor Noah took over as host, and now people have been praising him ever since. I really do think he should be the permanent host of the show. I just think it needs to happen. He's funny. He's been getting a lot of profiles in the news lately. He's 44 years old. He's great. He dragged everybody on, and he talks about Bath and Body Works. He's been making this joke about Bath and Body Works on social. He follows me on Twitter. He's from Birmingham. He was raised in Birmingham, Alabama. But he's doing his thing. So, but I also wanted to say something about Birmingham and bring up something else that was also in conversation. Because, so I don't know if you all been following some of the things that's been going on in the media world. A lot of people ask me about my social media posts about asserted someone's situation. So I'm just going to give y'all this update on this situation. Just, a story about karma. So you all know my special edition episode of Ernestly Speaking, I talked about my 5-year suspension from NABJ. Really, I'm not going back to NABJ unless there's some Trojan horse or something. But there was a drama with me being quote unquote ousted from the organization, which was largely led by the NABJ board of directors, which was and is currently led by their current president, Dorothy Tucker. So you've heard that name before on this podcast. Well, Dorothy Tucker, in her pursuit with the board to make sure that I was kicked out the organization because of, concerns about my tweets and how I disparagingly talked about the organization. She's found herself preoccupied in something that needs to keep her attention. So in an official statement that was released by the National Association of Black Journalists, they said a letter from the president, which is Dorothy Tucker. She wrote the following. And this came earlier this week, I believe on Thursday. NABJ family, I made a rookie mistake. It is important that I own up to it and never repeat it. Here's what happened. On Tuesday, April 25th, 2023, I entered a courtroom and violated court rules. In pursuit of confirming the identity of a person in a story, I took a photo of a man sitting several rows behind me. I simply wanted to compare that photo with a mugshot I possessed. I had no intention of using it for any other purpose, but that doesn't matter. It was an impulsive act that was against the rules. Someone in the courtroom saw me with the cell phone and brought it to the attention of the deputies. When they confronted me, I immediately admitted fault and per their instructions deleted the photo, which they witnessed. Reporters can have cell phones in the courtroom, but they cannot take photos with them. My temporary lapse in judgment is inexcusable. My actions were later brought to the attention of the judge, who issued a temporary prohibition of all cell phones and other electronics into the courthouse. He also called for a meeting of all media. I've written a letter to the presiding judge apologizing and offering total accountability, but I'm requesting him not to punish my colleagues. I have also informed my superiors, and I am sharing this statement with media representatives apologizing for the harm I may have caused. My history is one of integrity and honor. Bullshit. And so, in accordance with that, I am disclosing my error publicly, and I have learned my lesson. Dorothy Tucker. So that's the statement that she wrote, minus the bullshit part of it. Listen, someone play Karma by Taylor Swift, please. It's my favorite song off of her new album, Midnights. See, what I tell people all the time is pick your fights. Don't bother nobody that's not bothering you. If you're busy being in someone else's shit, fucking with somebody else, sometimes divine intervention will give you some business that you need to be prioritizing with so that you can stay on track and worry about what you're worried about. You over here talking about ethics. Listen, this woman is in her mid-60s, okay? Dorothy Tucker is no rookie. She's been in the game for over 40 years, and she likes to remind people that she feels like is younger, more inferior to her. That's neither here nor there. But it's interesting to me that you would go to a courthouse, okay? We know the rules in the courthouse. Even if you're not a journalist, you already know that in the courthouse they don't play with cell phones like that. Now you can have one, but you have to have that hoe on silent. You have to have that damn thing. You can't be using stuff. Anybody who's been to a courthouse knows that. Every journalist knows that. Like, this is not an egregious error. This is somebody who did something. Okay, I'm not buying it. You've been in the game for 40 years. Everybody knows that. And to take a picture in the courthouse during a trial. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm saying is that when people show you who they are and they start telling you what kind of things they do and how they carry, the gag is you wouldn't have said nothing unless you had got caught. Somebody else told on you in the courthouse, and that's why the deputies came. And then you embedded it and deleted it. But you did what you did because that's what you wanted to do. And you didn't give a fuck about the rules because they clearly did not apply at that moment. And you said to take the picture to compare it to a mugshot. Listen, I'm not even going to go there and talk about how that is problematic. But like, really? Okay. But you know what's funny is that it's always a double standard. Because had I done something like that or anybody else that was younger in the industry, oh, people have been off with his head. I got kicked out the organization for criticizing the organization on Twitter. And this person sits up and takes a picture of a person in a courthouse that is now putting other journalists' ability to cover the issue in trouble. Girl, bye. You need to go. You need to resign. You should resign. She's not. You only got a couple of months left. What, you got 3 more months left? You should step down. This is ridiculous. And the crazy part is that is risky. There's a reason why you cannot take pictures of people during a trial. A reason why. You're endangering people. There is a safety, privacy risk involved. And to be so selfish and to be so mindless or to be so arrogant and cavalier to say, fuck those rules and do what you want to do is very telling. But in my opinion, this is not the first time that she said, fuck the rules. She overrode them to not give me a level of due process and kicking me out the organization. But it looks like she has other things that she needs to be worried about. And as they say, bless her heart. Now moving along. So, speaking of people who got ousted, Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson on the same damn day. Where were you last Monday when you was listening to my podcast and thought everything was sweet? And then you, just like me, was like, fuck. Let me tell you something. I was sitting there like, fuck. Because I was talking about the NBC Universal president, okay? Who had to step down behind some inappropriate relationship. And then I find out, why I thought that was going to be the big story, the next goddamn day, here we are, Don Lemon out the door. No, let me pause. Tucker Carlson out the door first. And I'm like, oh shit, Tucker left? Well, he didn't leave. Well, it's complicated. So, reading into this more, the Daily Beast does a really good write-up about both of the men. Brian Seltzer got opinions about it, and he's been talking on his guest op-ed. He got a book coming out about Fox News. Brian Seltzer used to be at CNN. You know, he got the axe, and then now he wants to talk about it. Well, the tea with Tucker is that apparently this has been going on for a long time. Tucker Carlson, pretty much in a nutshell, it appears to be allegedly that he was pretty much a diva. You know, he was giving them a hard time. He was clashing with them about certain points. Those emails that came out, that was going to come out during that Dominion trial, the one they just settled for over $700 million, that settlement or whatever like that, what came out in Discovery, what was coming out was that Tucker was not only just bashing Trump, but his other colleagues and other people. And so that made a stink. He also was critical of certain Trump allies individuals who were close to the Fox brand. There was some headbutting he had. So a lot of this rose to that level and occasion, and he's gone. That's his situation. So while I was following that and saying, damn, Tucker Carlson at Fox News, lo and behold, what I guess CNN said, hold my beer, Don Lemon out. Now, Don Lemon claims he did not know he was going to get the boot. He said he found out like everybody else, and he was pissed and thought that after all the years he was working, they would have done him better. Well, they claim, okay, the CNN communications team, they claim that's not true. They said that they tried to ask him that morning to come to the office, and allegedly, based on my interpretation of that tweet, he didn't come because I guess he knew what was going to happen, so he didn't show. And then decided to just release his own statement to get ahead of the controversy, which he kind of did. People thought it was a stunt queen move by him. But his reason, people said, they think it's connected to the interview he did with the Indian Republican conservative candidate that ran, this guy, this argument he had with him last week about race and things. They're saying they think that was the reason why he got the boot. But apparently it seems like, and again, I always believe that there's never one gut instinct or issue. Typically there tends to be a web of things. So from my interpretation, it seemed like there was a buildup of things and issues. And so this kind of snowballed into that snowball effect. And so what ended up happening is that he had his controversy. He had his situations. I mean, he already had the situation with the women pastor prime remarks that was not well received. There was that bombshell story that came out about his alleged misogyny over the years. But there just seemed to be the writing on the wall. I mean, they didn't want him to drink at the New Orleans New Year's CNN, festivity or whatever. And apparently, he was mad about that because pretty much he was pretty sober and dry. But he just there seems to be a rift with CNN for a while. And it seemed like things just really hit ahead. Sad to see. You all remember, okay, a couple of weeks ago, I said to Don, recommending to him, I've met him, he's a nice guy. But I recommended that, you should start looking for a new gig and get out while you're ahead. Because it just looked like he was in a situation where this was only going to go down from there. And I didn't expect it to go that fast. But shit, they ready to give you the boot. They ready to give you the boot. So they gave him the boot, which is, fucked up. But what do I know, right? He seems to be okay. He says he doesn't really want people worried about him. He's resilient. He's like telling folks like, y'all more worried about me than I'm worried about myself. And I was like, well, damn, that's real. And that's how I feel sometimes. Like, I know when the NABJ event happened, everyone's like, are you okay? Did you cry? No, I didn't cry. Like, it just was what it was. But, people naturally, they're projecting how they would feel if something like that happens to them. So that's really what I feel like was happening in his situation. But very interesting nonetheless. So last week was the 6 ABC debate, and that was the final debate of the televised debate of the election cycle. At this point, the debates are over. It's time for these people to go out here, dump all their money into these ads, dump all their money into grassroots efforts and knock on doors and get people to vote. Right now, there is mail-in ballots going out. Right now, people can do mail-in voting. I'm not doing mail-in voting, baby. I am going to go to the polls in person. I might slide on those New Balances and take my ass to the polls. Nah, I'm joking. I'm going to put some Crocs on. But I'm going to go definitely to the polls and hit the polls and vote for a mayoral candidate and for city council candidates. And I'm going to cast my vote. And I encourage you all to as well, okay? Are you registered? You better be registered to vote. It's time to go. Let's go. So the 6 ABC debate happened. A lot of things went down, okay? A lot of things went down. And some of y'all probably saw some of the drama. But that debate, even though, let me just take credit. The CBS 3 PABJ Mayoral Candidates Forum streamed on Philly Cam. Shout out to every voice, every vote, a grant from the Linfest Institute to fund it. That was the best televised forum candidates debate. We had the best of the year. Yes, I did my thing. I'm going to speak on it. I was the best damn moderator. I watched everybody moderate, but in ranking order, I was the top. I'm just going to say it. You all have said it. Everybody's messaged me and DM me and said that what we did, okay, was the premier event. And I'm proud of that. So that's what happens when you let black people get creative. That's what happens when you let diversity come in the room, when you let community lead the charge, when you let us have a seat at the table and have a moment. That's all I'm going to say. Let that be a lesson to all of you all out here that is seeking to go for that, Just saying. So, yes, there was a lot going on. The debate on 6ABC was spicy, for sure. It was a lot going on, like I said before. Matt O'Donnell hosted it, and it was a great forum. He hosted it. He was a moderator. He is the Action News morning anchor. He says on Twitter, he describes himself as a certified alarm clock whisperer. He's a big fan of me. He reads a lot of my stuff. And he's great. He actually asked the question to the audience, to the candidates. And I was like, wow, not him, no one reading this stuff like his. I was like, Shao, he quoted me and referenced my writing for the Democratic candidates. It was about basically how this is a majority Democratic city, yet, a lot of the issues happening, there's still this poverty. And he said, he DM'd me on Twitter and he said, Ernest, I quoted you in that question last night because I thought you made a great point. You're willing to look inward with your commentary. The city of Philadelphia needs more of that. Keep up the great work, Matt. That's nice. It's nice when journalists support other journalists. Matt did a good job moderating. It was just him moderating. So he had to wrangle all these candidates together. But he's a pro at it. And he also does that show, Inside Story. And he's also referenced me in the past with Kenny over the soda tax and things. So he be knowing. He be reading. I don't know. I'm always excited when there's certain really great people that, be in the know. Because you just never know who in these other news outlets are reading what other people are doing. I know I do, but you never know who else is out there doing it. So pretty dope. And that debate, by the way, the 6ABC debate, I watch it on YouTube, but it came on at 9 a.m. on 6ABC on Sunday, which you can watch it online. It's already on 6ABC, already on their YouTube. So if you put in 6ABC mayoral debate, it will come on there. And that debate got a lot of views. It was hosted by the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. They're the ones who did the live debate, and it has gotten a lot of views on YouTube. So people are watching it, but it aired at 9 a.m. on 6ABC on Sunday. So, Now about that debate, the big highlights. There were some interesting moments. Let me get the most silliest, weirdest thing out the way before I get into the messiness. The silliest thing that happened was between Almond Brown and Rebecca Reinhardt, but it was really Almond Brown. He asked her, there was a section in the debate where they allowed the candidates to ask each other questions, which was kind of cool. And one of the questions the question Almond chose to use his question for was to ask Rebecca Reinhardt, it's awkward and cringy. And honestly, I'm just I'm shaking my head because I'm just why did you do this? What were you thinking, dude? What the fuck? Okay, so basically, Brown got his turn. He goes after Rebecca. He goes, Rebecca, in one of your latest campaign ads, you called two esteemed African-American men, former mayors, boys. Rebecca Reinhardt's face, y'all, looked like something did not smell right. She's like, what? Who? What? What the fuck? What? And she just looks, they had a split screen of them. And she's looking like, what? And he continues and says, is that indicative of how you would prioritize African-American men given the current environment? And she's looking confused and what is happening right now? She's like, that's not true. I didn't call them that, so that's just not true. It's not true. She's just I don't know what to say. She's like, wait a minute. In her head, where I was watching, I was like, now you dumb. Ooh, let me watch my mouth. Because I was just like, so you mean to tell me, bro, you got an opportunity to ask a question. You could have, asked Helen Gim. Like the last time you was the Fox, you was getting Helen together. You got Jeff Gim together at my forum. Jeff Brown, I mean. You got Jeff Brown together. Like normally when he does this I got a question situation he's been doing at the debates, he normally be ready for the clapback. So I'm just like, oh, he about to bring it. He didn't bring anything. He brought himself. I see when you doing too much. 3 times not a charm. The first time, okay, he asked Gim where was she at? And that shit was awkward. Exposed the fact that she had a meeting with the 76ers arena people. That was a big steal. Then the second time, he got Jeff Brown together talking about the quality of Jeff Brown's meats. That shit was fire. And then now you go to Rebecca, and Rebecca like, what? It just was weird. So basically, she just looked weird. She said it's not true. And then Brown says everyone has seen the commercial. And I'm like, bruh, yes, we all seen the commercial. And of course, the answer is she didn't say boys. She said guys. She never said boys. And my whole thing was like, dude, if Rebecca Reinhardt would have said boys, I would have been the first to get on that ass. I watch all the campaign ads. I watch all of them. Super PAC ads. I watch everybody's ads. And if it's something weird. Look, I'm the one who exposed the fact that Michelle Obama wasn't really feeling Jeff Brown's ads. Like, I follow campaign ads. If she would have ever said boys, I would have been like, why are you calling these 2 grown men boys? She never did. Like, it never happened. And so now I'm just like, what you doing? What are you doing? Why what? When it don't make sense, it don't make sense. Him staying in a race, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. Like, to hear him talk about it, his supporters and people believe that there is a silent majority out there or a group of people that are not polling. They're not polling him according to some of his supporters, that they feel like, we'll get to that poll in a minute. I'll talk more about it later, but they just believe that people who are undecided aren't really undecided. They're just supporting him, but they're not saying he's decided. Now, listen, I'm telling you what is being said from the camp. The impression is that they're not trying to make him visible because they're trying to push. There's a conspiracy to push these other candidates to the forefront, but he's got the ear to the streets and he's got the ear to the ground. And the people on the ground that are in these neighborhoods, they want him. They want a young black man. That's how he perceives it. He's 31. He's not 31. He's 35 years old. He's the youngest candidate in the race. And he believes that he represents what the voters really want, and that the undecided that we've been seeing is really it's the brown vote. It's not his vote. It's the brown vote. That's the narrative that his supporters are saying. Look, whatever it takes for people to navigate how they gonna run their race, it costs a lot of money to run, but it costs less if you leave. I mean, for him, his situation is very interesting because he's a state rep, so he is still employed by Harrisburg. You know what I'm saying? But that's the problem. That's the problem. That was the problem, and I think some of that, my situation is just like more people should, really be in a space where, if you run a race, like Derek Green ran a race, and he was like, he knew when it was time to tap out. Maria the same. People just know when to tap out and get out of there. But in this situation, it just seems like, when you can run as a state rep and get money, there's no harm in him. I mean, I guess for him, he doesn't have a risk. He doesn't see an immediate danger to stop running or stay running the race. Like for him, it's like, look, I can still make money. He's still getting paid by the state as a state rep while running this race. So he's not losing anything. Like when you run, like everybody else in the city has to resign and run. So they have to place their bets and get their stuff together and figure it out. He doesn't have to do that. He's still in the state rep seat for a minute now. He's still in the seat. I don't think he has to run for re-election next year. I think maybe. Yeah, he has to run for re-election next year, I believe. Um, yeah, every other year they have to run for the next seat. So he's got to run for re-election next year for his state rep seat if he still wants it. But it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. So, um, yeah, um, yeah. So it's interesting debate. But furthermore, the big thing of the night. Everyone talked about the arm and hammer wreck around her thing. Yeah, it was stupid. It was bizarre. It was awkward. Whatever. The thing that really was the big deal of the night for me, and what everyone needs to understand, what really took off and set off, was that Jeff Brown made this comment. When talked about endorsements from unions, he dismissed the Philadelphia Teachers Foundation or Federation or group, the teachers union. He said he didn't, and he also dissed the the building trades, which which is okay. Um, which is basically one of those institutions where you don't mess with them. You know what I'm saying? Um, um, you know, which is very telling. Which says a lot. But I think that's one of the things when I look into this situation. I want to clarify something that just happened about that debate because there's been a lot of heat for his comments. So what happened was, there's been a lot of trash talk. So there's been some ongoing beef. Basically, he's gotten, Jeff Brown basically lied at the debate, and has now been facing some smoke for such. One of the things that he did is that he's got endorsements from the Teamsters, he got the grocery workers, he got blue collar city employees, but he basically said last Tuesday during the debate that he didn't even want endorsements from the building trades, which has 50 unions. Now, the Building Trades Council, which has 50 unions. Sherelle Parker got the Building Trades endorsement, and the person who leads the Building Trades, who's the head of the Philadelphia Building Trades Council, is Ryan Boyer. Now, you know who Ryan Boyer is. I talk a lot about him. He also leads, Labor's District Council. I wrote about him for Philly Mag. I did a big, huge profile piece last summer about him, and I kind of hinted in that piece that he was probably going to go with Sherelle, and he did. So that was a little bit of an early scoop. But a lot went down, with this. He claimed that he didn't want an endorsement from them, and even described them as trouble. So Ryan Boyer has really come after him aggressively about some of the remarks that he has said. It's going to the press. It's going to everywhere. And the night that the debates happened and everything went down, the stuff that was said was wild. So I'm going to actually share some of the statements that came out. It's been, some of the stuff, since then he has not talked a lot about. But some of the things that came up was interesting. So let me read verbatim the statement, press release that came out following this controversy. Because I was taken aback because I've never read a press release in a long time as spicy as this. The statement. This is following Jeff Brown's remarks. And let me clarify that I did reach out to Jeff Brown's campaign. He apologized for his remarks, and he said he didn't mean any harm to the working people of Philadelphia and of those unions. He made that apology, rather later than soon, right? So, of course, he made his apology, but, here we go. So the statement that he that came out following the debate was, quote, well, let me clarify the statement. Statement of Philadelphia Building Trades business manager Ryan N. Boyer on mayoral candidate Jeff Brown calls upon Governor Shapiro to remove Brown from key position. Quote, the hardworking members of the Philadelphia Building and Construction Trades Council have had their fill of millionaire businessmen and wannabe Mayor Jeff Brown. He claims he never wanted our endorsement, yet on February 1st, 2023, Brown appeared before the Building Trades Executive Board to ask for it. The moment he found out he wasn't getting our endorsement, he turned on us and started a series of attacks in which he claimed the building trades somehow don't represent the best interests of working people. It'd be laughable if it wasn't so blatantly false and dangerously reckless. We're urging our fellow unions and the voting public to look past his slick TV ads and see Jeff Brown for what he really is, a power-hungry narcissist who doesn't give a damn about working people. In furtherance of our efforts to expose Jeff Brown for his true anti-worker positions, we have respectfully asked Governor Josh Shapiro to remove Brown as chairman of the PA State Workforce Development Board, as well as to replace Brown on the board of directors of the Pennsylvania Convention Center. We also call upon those labor unions that have endorsed Jeff Brown to rescind their support, given his anti-union sentiments that have recently come to light in press interviews. Jeff Brown possesses neither the governmental experience nor the moral fiber to be mayor of Philadelphia. Well, damn. Well, damn. Well, damn. Well, damn. Interesting. Interesting. There's just been a lot of smoke that has been going on around town following a lot of the Jeff Brown remarks, and it has gotten to a boil. For KYW, an interview with Pat Loeb, Ryan Boyer had said, I thought I was in an alternate universe when he heard Ryan Boyer listen to Brown. He said, quote, there were 25 people in the room when he came to pine for our endorsement. So to say that he didn't seek it, it's a bold-faced lie. You know, the teachers union also says Brown sought the endorsement at a forum in January and produced an email from Brown thanking the union for keeping him updated on its deliberations. But Brown also suggested the building trades who endorsed Sherelle Parker and the teachers union who endorsed Helen Gim don't represent working people. He said this out of his own mouth. Now, in response, Brown and I addressed why he didn't want the union's endorsement, even though he asked for them. He simply said he's proud of his service and looks forward to continuing to serve on the state board. Now, Boyer had called on the Governor Shapiro to remove him, of course, and replace him, but he didn't say anything further. It's interesting. It's getting very messy. It's getting messy. You know, and this is also update the Political Action Committee, the PAC, right? That super PAC, they halted spending on Jeff Brown's mayoral campaign, which is now questions of fundraising collusion remains. So this is still happening right now, people. Like, you know, last week I told you there was going to be a hearing. Well, it's official. A Philadelphia judge last Monday had signed an order that stopped the PAC for a Better Philadelphia, which is the PAC that was giving Jeff Brown all the support, from spending any money to influence the outcome of the election. This is a big deal because this order is part of a larger case that's involving that PAC and Jeff Brown. Now, the campaign finance laws places strict limits on how much candidates from local office can accept from donors. It also prohibits candidates from working with a independent expenditure group, an IE, such as For a Better Philadelphia, because basically those individuals, that group can raise and spend unlimited amounts of money, so they don't want a collusion, okay? The city's, however, Board of Ethics have alleged that, you know, Brown worked with this group to raise money and that the PAC used the money to support Brown's campaign, which is technically in violation of the city's campaign finance laws. So there's been back and forth, but basically, apparently, last weekend that the Board of Ethics and the PAC had reached an agreement to extend the order, which they currently have been stopping, right? The order had already stopped the PAC spending, you know, for the past couple weeks, but now they've agreed that they would extend the order to election day, which basically is why the judge canceled a hearing that they had scheduled for Monday. Because basically the judge just signed the order rather than having the hearing. So there wasn't a hearing. We thought there was going to be a hearing, but because they worked out a deal over the weekend, they just basically canceled that hearing because they reached this agreement. But let's be clear, that agreement, right, that the judge had signed does not settle the question of whether Brown and the PAC colluded. That's still up in the air, okay? And the executive director of the Philadelphia Board of Ethics, which is Shane Creamer, he basically said that those charges will be resolved separately. It's probably going to be some weeks. It will not happen during the election, but there is a lot of things that's happening. A lot of things are being said. Someone said that somebody has already admitted that Brown helped with fundraising for the PAC. Somebody's already admitted that already. It's been already reported that somebody has admitted that he has helped fundraise for the PAC, which the tea is hot because it's almost like, So Matthew White is the attorney for A Better Philadelphia and said that the agreement that they reached with the Board of Ethics allows the PAC to continue certain types of spending, but basically it will be distributing flyers urging people to vote and participate in the primary and general elections, but it will not be promoting Jeff Brown at all. So the interesting thing is that White, who's that lawyer, admits that Brown helped with fundraising for the PAC. He told KYW, quote, he came to dinner. He may have made some phone calls, but we won't believe that rises to collusion or coordination. Interesting. So the board regulates that, the ethics board says they define coordination is basically when anyone solicits funds from an entity within 12 months of an election. They basically allege that there was a dinner and phone calls that took place this past summer in the fall. So let me break down what that is about, because this is an issue that no one's talking about. So there was that big, huge fundraiser that he had at Stake 48 that charged $100,000 per individual. Now, last week when I did my last podcast episode, some of y'all were shocked that I said $100,000 per individual. Yes, $100,000 per individual. That's why I thought the situation was weird. That event is the dinner in question. Now, he's having another fundraiser, sadly enough, with Amina. Amina's, in Old City, the Black-owned restaurant, she is having a fundraiser dinner with him. Now, you know what? That broke my heart because Amina's, listen, I'm going to keep it 100 now because now that I found this out, now I'm going to tell you how I really feel. I never thought that food was that good. I always thought the food was overrated. I wasn't crazy about Amina's restaurant. But you know what? That's my spirit telling me that I was right the whole time about that place. I felt like the place was just, listen, you've never seen me promote Amina's or talk about the restaurant. I try not to slam a restaurant unless it's just, But now, you over there supporting Jeff Brown, the food was already not that good. And it's overpriced. And let's be real, it's not that good. I think people like things. Sometimes identity politics makes us think, listen, every Black-owned restaurant is not on point. It's just not. Now, there's some really good ones, but there's some that's just not good. It doesn't matter if it's Black-owned, Asian-owned, Latinx-owned, white-owned. Some restaurants are just not good. Acomena is not a good, solid restaurant across the board. Good bar food, but not everything else. Amina's, I just feel like it's overpriced and overrated, and I just feel like they're paying, the price you're paying for that food, which isn't that good, let's be clear, a lot of it is based off of paying that rent over there in Old City. It's not because the food quality is anything exceptional, in my opinion. And quite frankly, my opinion is what matters on this podcast because it is earnestly speaking. So I'm going to speak on my podcast. I don't think the food is that good. But now that I find out that they're doing a fundraiser with Jeff Brown, definitely an L. Corny and bad. You have all these other options and you're picking Jeff Brown to back. Child, it could be not enough money in the world to make me want to endorse this horrible, bad option of a candidate. Just trash. So that to me was the big bombshell in that situation, in my opinion. But, what do I know? Other things have been going on lately with PACs. Before I get into this independent poll, there was an interesting ad that ran. I'm just going to play the audio of it. It's been hot. It's been a hot topic. A lot of people have been talking about it. So I wanted to play it and, it's 30 seconds. Here it goes. This is a PAC that dropped this ad. They're calling themselves the Coalition for Safety and I believe it's the coalition for safety and equitable growth is what they're calling themselves. And I'll talk about who they are, but this is an interesting PAC ad that I heard. And we're not playing it to make any endorsements or anything else. I'm just playing it for the education.
February 2019, Helen Gim sides with the drug companies voting against requiring them to register their salespeople. The bill would have discouraged doctors from overprescribing opioids. It's a clear conflict of interest. Gim profited from her husband's job working for one of America's largest opioid distributors. After the vote, drug company executives gave Gim tens of thousands. The Enquirer called her vote deplorable. Helen Gim, not who she says she is.
Woo. Well, you all listened to my podcast when I discussed this last week. Full disclosure and transparency, I had no idea that this ad was going to be running last week. I didn't even know an ad was coming. I didn't even know anyone was going to be talking about that connection. But look, it's saying a lot. It's saying a lot. So this group, based on my research, it is led by a guy named Jabari Jones. He's like leading this PAC. People are questioning where the money that's funding the PAC. I believe Jeffrey Yass, who was a billionaire who has been giving money to both Democrats and Republicans, for good or for worse, has been leading this charge. People have considered that this PAC is an anti-Helen Gim PAC, and they're going to be running some strong ads against her in the next couple of weeks. What I will say is that, look, I don't support PACs. I'm really I don't really like PACs. I just, Citizens United, not really big about big money going to races. What I will say, though, is that this would not be so glaring if Helen Gim would have actually addressed this issue more prominently throughout her campaign. I mean, this is the kind of stuff, this reminds me of Hillary 2016 all over again, where you have these surprises and these scandals and these things, and you're just like, why wasn't this addressed? Because it is an issue. And I have to be real that, like, I'm personally uncomfortable with the role that Big Pharma has played specifically with Gim. I'm not, it's just too weird. And people are like, oh, well, this was a one-time bill and this. Nah, listen, as somebody who did the research so that you don't have to, this shit is deep. And I just really think that there are some progressives that are being intellectually dishonest about the role in which this goes. I'm going to keep it all the way funky and 100. My husband works for the city. He works at city council. He works for a city councilwoman that I believe has a lot of respect and dignity and is a good person. That's just my opinion. I'm just saying what I'm saying. And if he would have worked for somebody else, a different type of person that was in that office, not office, but in city council, I think that people should look at me funny to say, well, wait a minute, your man worked for so-and-so, but you are, in many ways, when you've been married to somebody for a long time or been with someone for a long time, your politics in many ways do mirror that, especially how you make your money. So there were people that were saying last week when I had talked about the former, AmerisourceBergen executive, not rep, exec, who poured money, over $30,000 of donations I had calculated from 2019. Now, there's been way more since then because he apparently has been giving money since 2015, since she's ran for office. And that's before her husband started working there. But I tracked the money that was from 2019 when she took the bill and her husband started working at AmerisourceBergen. Like, there's a relationship there. And as you all know, AmerisourceBergen has been alleged to be one of the leading pharmaceutical companies that pushed and fueled the opioid epidemic. Like, that's just a thing. The DOJ is suing them right now. The Department of Justice. Like, this is no joke. They had a $6 billion settlement. What are y'all? Listen, this is serious. So the thing for me is that everyone said, okay, so her husband's exec donated, so that's all the money. That's a little bit of money. Y'all, her husband for years was in a top tier senior level type of position, getting big fucking bank for his salary at AmerisourceBergen. Okay? Her lifestyle is funded largely by her husband's salary. Because let's keep it 100. City council salaries, they're cute, they're decent, but that's not going to keep you in Jimmy Choo's and red bottoms. Listen, all shade aside, no shade. Helen Gim, she dresses well. And there's no disrespect there. She is well dressed. She dresses down. And I'm talking as a gay man who loves fashion. Look, you're going to catch me in a Telfar bag, baby. I know fashion. Helen Gim is one of the best dressed city council people. Male or female, man or woman. Like, she dresses well. And that is not a type of outfit that you can afford on a city council budget. Trust me, I know. Because let me tell you something. Listen, what you see me wear, listen, I'm getting it for less. I'm just saying, you can't fake red bottom. You can't wear Jimmy Choo's, Louboutins. You can't wear Prada. You can't wear that stuff in new fits and outfits at city council. I know city council folks that work there. You could tell the ones that got separate contracts and deals. Like Derek Green. Derek Green had his stuff spread on different jobs and careers. But if you think of a Catherine Grimmer Richardson, that is upper middle class right there. She dresses nice, but you don't catch her in too much Gucci. She might have one cute little Louis bag every blue moon, but you're not going to catch her, and she's not dressing like that. You look at Jim Harity, he's not dressing like that. Kenyatta, we know known based on reports, he's maxing out credit cards to dress like that. Anthony Phillips, he is not dressing like that. I'm just keeping it 100. There are some rich people on city council like Alan Dom. Alan Dom is a millionaire. Helen Gim is probably a millionaire. I think she's a millionaire. I'm willing to bet that she's a millionaire. She's got money. She's always had money. Let's be clear. Even before her husband worked before AmerisourceBergen, they both are Penn alums. They both had nice jobs, but he was the money. The money. She wasn't, listen, to her credit, she never had like ridiculous, crazy high paying jobs like that. Like, to her credit. But she was able to do that because she had money on the side. It wasn't like there's people who are deeply in the community. Both of them are working. Like, you look at Isaiah Thomas and his wife. Like, these are people that are working to raise their kids. They don't have these crazy salaries. They're not swimming in dough like that. But Gim is. Gim is a rich woman. She's come from a rich family. Her husband was out here in the midst of the opioid epidemic representing that shit and making big fucking bank. She is a big pharma funded family member cosplaying as a grassroots progressive. And that's just the fact that she literally hides him, in my opinion, because she does not want that attention. This entire time, no one's ever really looked and talked, it's whispers in it. It's been interesting how there's been a wall. And I was always wondering, like, why was there the wall? Because of what he do. And so there's some interesting hypocrisies here. And people can say all the things they want to say and talk about this, that, and the third. But like, look, we know Larry Krasner got money. Okay? We know Larry Krasner got money. We ain't gonna act like Larry Krasner don't got the money. It's just become interesting to me that the leading elected progressives in this city are rich and not black. But then you got black people in our communities fighting other black people about their political stances on certain people and issues. But they're over here backing non-black candidates. And listen, I'm not saying that every candidate that's black deserves our vote. Not with this slate, right? But the interesting thing is that there is no nuance here. Everything's in binaries. Everything is, if you support this person, then you this is this and this is this. But the gag is that Helen Gim and people like Helen Gim has created these binaries that don't exist and that no one can really live in. But they create these binaries that they themselves do not operate within. Because the narrative has always been, I've heard all of the anti-black things. Oh, Ernest, you ain't that for the people because you went to Penn. You an Ivy Leaguer. You don't know nothing about issues. Shut the fuck up. You know what's funny is that black people, educated black people, are oftentimes questioned on their connection and commitment to the community more than a lot of these non-black people who come from far better places. I went to public school my entire life. My mama didn't create a charter school for me to leave right when my public school was bad. She didn't create a charter school for me and put me in there when it was convenient. Okay? She got a position on, Helen Gim got a position on charter schools after she actually started a charter school for her own kids. But you want to sit up here and want to judge people like me. I earned my shit through scholarships and fucking merit. Her kids went to public school? You mean Masterman? Come on. And you know, it's just funny because no one will say that. But they'll sick these black progressives on other black people, other black progressives, young people, different people who disagree. They try to question our commitment to the community. And we're fucking marginalized people. But I get more questions about, oh, well, you saying all that, but you seem to be living well. Oh, because I have some fucking nice loafers on and a blazer? Oh, great. Oh, wonderful. But this person can walk around in Jimmy Choo's and live on the Parkway and can do whatever she wants. And because she puts up a power fist and she acts like she supports your causes, untouchable. It's the anti-blackness for me. And we need to call it out. We need to call it out. We need to also get our fellow black and brown community members that are in these spaces that's being weaponized against the community, against other people in the community that share different political differences. Black and brown people should not be fighting each other over any of these fucking candidates. To keep it really 100, this slate of city council candidates, not city council, because this slate of mayoral candidates is like a very disappointing batch. Most of these candidates are not that good. They're not that inspiring. It's slim pickings, to be honest. And the truth of the matter is that we're over here. You got people thinking that this is the election of the century. What a poor fucking showing. And you know what's going to end up happening, what I predict, if things don't change? I don't think voter turnout is going to be that big. And if it is big, it's not going to be big in the black community. It's not going to be that big amongst black voters. Because the black voters that I'm talking to, they're not even that inspired. What a shame. So an independent poll came out that was led by the committee of 70. It was based on ranking order, tier order. If people voted based on ranking order, how would it play out? Well, it is the first public poll, and it's literally a statistical tie that they're saying they say it's a 5-way tie. I don't think it's a 5-way tie. I personally feel like it's more of a 3-way tie, but 4-way tie, but not a 5-way tie. They're saying a 5-way tie because they said the credibility interval is 3.8, I guess. So here's the numbers. Rebecca Reinhart comes in at number 1 with 18% of the vote. Sherelle Parker, 17% of the vote. Helen Gim, 15% of the vote. Alan Dom, 14% of the vote. And Jeff Brown, 11% of the vote. And then 20 undecided. So 20 candidates so 20% undecided is higher than the number of voters. So this is still an open race. Anybody can get these votes. Who's going to get this 20% of the vote? We don't know. But Rebecca Reinhart came in at number 1. As small as that margin is, she has the highest, she came in at number 1. And Gim came in at number 3. But again, we're talking mere percentage points. So it doesn't seem like no one's really bragging about it. But I think the thing is that we all thought that this independent poll would just shut the shit down. It didn't. We still tied up. We still caught in a situation where we don't know where we're going. It's just very interesting because I think everyone was oh, we don't know where it's going to go, yada, yada, yada. Well, now it feels like we are still on the margin, still trying to figure out how this is going to play out. But it's a lot. It's a lot. The verdict is still out. We're still trying to figure out, how this is going to play out. But it's interesting. So, as you all know, I've been on the edge of suspense about how I'm going to vote, who I'm going to vote for, what I think about mayor. I'm glad to tell you all that next week's episode, which will be officially a week before the election, I'll finally come out the closet and announce who I think is my top pick to be mayor of Philadelphia. Some of y'all are like, I can take a wild guess who it's not going to be. Well, you never know. But I am going to eventually name the person a week before. I've just been covering a race, and honestly, I'm still processing. Honestly, it's just a lot to process because every week there's something new that comes up and my mind goes up and down how I feel. But then there's things that remind me, oh shit, you really can't support this person or whatever, It's just hard, like I'm just like you all. I'm undecided to a certain degree, but I'm going to have a decision next Monday. Some of my friends are probably listening to this podcast like, bitch, shut up. You already know who you're going to vote for. Stop playing like this is shut up, y'all. I'm undecided. But my friends are like, my really close ones are like, bitch, he ain't decided. He already know he goes somewhere. Y'all can't. No, I really don't. Listen, I want to be clear. You got to be double clear because shit falling out the roof. You got people out here making lynch jokes. You just don't know who, stuff be coming out the window. You just don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to, I'm processing this. I'm processing, I'm taking it all in. I'm processing. But here's what I will tell you. I am fully interested in talking about who I support or who will get my vote for city council at large. People have been asking me throughout the podcast, this especially during this cycle, hey, you haven't talked a lot about city council races that much. It's been boring, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not excited about city council races, to be honest. But there are people that I am definitely looking at, and I have been reading up on candidates and know some of the candidates' work. So I do want to talk about, some of these seats for sure. So just want to talk about it. Okay. Who do I want to talk about? Okay. So for me, my city council at large candidates that I am supporting for at large, because that's the race that everybody can vote for. That's a citywide seat. So if you're in Philadelphia, everybody votes for city council at large. But I want you all to know who my slate is and who I'm picking personally. Catherine Gilmore Richardson. She's an incumbent. She's a Black woman who knows what she's doing. She's very qualified. She is very energetic. She's a mother. She is a wife. She is about, the environment. She's very eco-forward. She's very Black business forward. She's about equity. And she's very pragmatic and realistic. And I can appreciate that. And she also makes very good hiring decisions. Full disclosure, my husband is her communications director. But to be very clear, I was a big fan of Catherine Gilmore Richardson long before he ever decided to work for her. So just putting that there. Isaiah Thomas, I support him. He's an incumbent. He ran 3 times and won his 3rd time for city council at large last cycle. He's running again. I think his work with driving equality has started a very important conversation. The conversation needs to continue. He's definitely somebody who puts some legislation behind an idea that has now inspired other cities, and I think it's important. Now, those are the only incumbents that I'm endorsing or that I am going to vote for. Let me clarify, vote for. I'm not voting for Jim Harity. He might win, actually. He most likely will win. But personally, I'm not voting for him because I just don't feel like he's done enough to prove why he should get reelected to this position. I think the way the Democratic Party has been really pushing him, oddly, in LGBTQIA spaces and other spaces to get him to get certain votes, I just find it disingenuous. And I just don't know if we need another, guy from the Northeast. That's my opinion. Okay, but let me tell you the 3 other people I supported, which are all women. Rue Landau. I am definitely excited about Rue Landau. She got endorsed by the Democratic Party, which is rare that openly LGBTQ candidates get endorsed by the party. So it's a pretty big damn deal that Rue did. Rue and I've known her work for years. I covered Gabriel racism, as you all know, and she was over as executive director over the Philadelphia Commission on Human Relations, PCHR. I can never forget the acronym. And when she was there, she decided to take the concerns, my reporting on Gabriel racism, she looked into it and launched a city investigation to this work and then created a report. She gave me credit. She cited the Black and Brown Workers Collective and acknowledged the co-founders, which is one of them, Abdul Ali Muhammad, who there's someone I'm really good friends with, acknowledged their work and also led to inspiring policy change, to which former council member at large, Derek Green, proposed the bill to put tougher sanctions in the Fair Practice Ordinance that would stop what that would really be tougher on commercial properties such as those neighborhood bars from racially discriminating and doing other forms of discrimination. That would have not happened if Rue did not pick up the mantle from the work that I did as a journalist to then launch the investigation, to do a report that would then inform City Council to take action, which then they unanimously passed to get Mayor King to sign it. Rue was very pivotal in that work, and Rue has been defending people, immigrants, LGBTQI people, women, black and brown people for a decade. She is a real, true civil rights attorney, and with her foresight, and if she gets elected, she will be the first openly LGBTQ candidate to win a city council seat in Philadelphia's history. That has never happened. We've had people who were out or something years later, but to be your true self and to run and to do that is incredible. And sidebar, her brother is Landau, his last name. He owns Veg. Richard Landau is her brother, who owns Veg, that restaurant Veg, and he used to own V Street, sidebar, for foodies who like vegetarian, vegan food. But no, she just automatically gets my support. I'm definitely voting for her. My other candidate I'm voting for is Erica Amarone. Erica Amarone is an organizer. She used to do great work with Juntos. She has been she's Latinx. If she gets elected, she'll be the first Latinx woman to ever hold a city council at large seat. There's been previous Latinx people over the years, men who've held the seat. Not too many though, but she'll be the first Latinx woman to hold that seat if she gets elected. She does a lot of work around immigration. She does a lot of work around black and brown communities, people who are living in poverty. She's a real raw community organizer and activist. And she's going to bring, in my opinion, some real tried and true lessons in advocacy. There's a lot of activists that are interested in running for city council, but I feel like they don't have the discipline and the wherewithal to understand policy and how to go in and really know how to negotiate. She was not endorsed by the party, but she was one of the candidates that were left blank. So the party endorsed 4 candidates. They endorsed Kathy Gilmer Richardson, Isaiah Thomas, Rue Landau, and Jimmy Harity. The 5th one, they did not give an endorsement, but they made 3 recommendations, and she was one of those recommendations. So personally, that's who I recommend for the seat. And then last but not least, Erin Sansamore. Erin Sansamore grew on me. When she first ran, I just kind of was like, oh, another white woman that's running, that's just playing by the numbers. But this time around, she has really been intentional to reaching out to different communities, really just opening up. And I think, the pandemic and things have happened that's made her just find her voice even more in the campaign. She's very smart. And that's important, but she's not just smart, but she understands how city work. She worked as the chief of staff for Alan Dom. She understands city government. She's worked under the Nutter administration. She knows it. And honestly, there's not enough women outside of what we already have that if you're looking to fill in those voids, I just think it just needs to be more women in council in general, but also somebody who isn't just coming from out of nowhere. That's one thing that I really admire a lot about Kathy Gilmer Richardson is that she worked in city council, city government for 10 years, and she's a millennial. She's been in the game for a long time. And we need more people in city council. Now, to be clear, my mix of candidates are very different. I'm endorsing one man, which is Isaiah Thomas. But I'm looking at the slate. So Catherine has that city council experience. Isaiah is also an incumbent. Erin has city council experience, not as an elected official, but works in government. Rue has governmental experience of a different caliber. Erica also has that nonprofit advocacy experience, not governmental, but on the ground grassroots, true grassroots, let's be clear. They represent the LGBTQ community. They represent women. They represent black and brown people. There's a lot of diversity here for various reasons, but I think that all the 5 of them as Democratic candidates, I think they balance each other out in a way that does not, that shakes the table, but shakes the table responsibly. So I just feel like those are my top 5. I don't have anyone else. I don't care about the other candidates that's running. Good luck to them and what they do in their race, but those are the 5 that I'm going to be voting for on May 16th. I encourage you all to really look them up and check them out. But those are the 5 for me. I think they have a good balance. And I think, honestly, 4 of them will win. I think I think Erica's going to need a lot of people's support because I can see Jimmy Harity getting that seat. I think Aaron's a shoe-in. I think Rue's a shoe-in. But I think Erica's going to be the one. So I think people should really consider. Don't just go straight Democratic ticket this time. Really consider people like Erica, who's getting support by various different groups. She's getting support by Work and Family. She's getting support by Reclaim, but she also is getting support from different groups that's not just these hyperactive progressive groups. She's got it, and I really hope people really do consider her. So those are my 5 picks. Now, a lot of y'all have asked me questions about these other seats, and so I wasn't going to say anything, but I am going to say something. Register of Wills, I cannot support Tracy Gordon for that Democratic nomination. She's an incumbent. She had a moment. But no, I'm going to support Ray Hall. This is a black woman who knows that office. She previously worked at the Register of Wills office. She currently works in the Kennedy administration, and she worked for former city council president Anna Verna. Ray Hall has a lot of good experience, and honestly, another black woman with the discipline, the governmental experience, the lack of ethical concerns, I think she's a great option. I'm going to go for Ray Hall. Ray Hall for Register of Wills. That's what's going to get my vote, because I can't with Tracy Gordon, and I'm definitely not going to vote for who the party endorsed. Not for me. Now, for sheriff, let me keep it all the way 100. Michael Uttermeyer, I am not voting for Rochelle Blau. Rochelle Blau? Absolutely not. Not voting for her. Come on. Like, where do I begin? No. Michael Uttermeyer is a boring white man, but a white man who knows what's up. He's a former prosecutor. He made some unusual decisions, okay? Like, he wore a GPS tracking device for 30 days to call attention to the need to release nonviolent offenders to home detention during his 2009 run when he ran for DA. He's an interesting guy. But at the end of the day, he just seems like the person that can clean up the mess. I have spoken to him and before he announced, but he definitely, I think, is the better option, to be honest, in my opinion. Now, for city controller, it is not going to be, I'm not endorsing and supporting or voting for Christy Brady. She got FOP money. That's a no for me, dog. Honestly, the 2 options, because I'm not going to get in the middle of a fight over this, but I think that the 2 people you have left on that ballot to choose from is Alexandra Hunt and John Thomas. John Thomas, he's following under the footsteps of Rebecca Reinhart, and pretty much, he is somebody who the Inquirer said, quote, is the best candidate to keep the momentum going. They really think that he is effective, and he can do the job. I think that Alexandra Hunt also is someone who has come with a lot of grassroots energy and fever. Both of those people are options. Flip a coin. Read on which one you like. John Thomas is a black man. I think he'll be the first black city controller. But you also have Alexandra Hunt, which is a real grassroots progressive. That will be the youngest city controller, I believe, in our history. But also somebody who can bring, some energy there. I would say look at both of the candidates. Figure out which of the candidates you want. But anybody but Christy Brady is my vote. My endorsement is anyone but Christy Brady. But you got between John Thomas and Alexandra Leggett. Not Leggett, Alexandra Leggett. Alexandra Hunt. Wrong Alexandra. But outside of that, those are the options, in my opinion, for starters. Now, there's been some news lately. That's all of my serious thoughts before I get into some of my petty topics. So, not petty, but something a little bit more light. So Brian McKnight, what the fuck? Brian McKnight is trash. Why did no one tell me Brian McKnight was trash? He is trash. So here's what's been going on. People have been talking about some of the drama with him lately. So this man has 4 biological children, okay? And then he has a daughter, Brianna, and a son from a previous relationship. So he has 2 that from his marriage with his college sweetheart. Then he has also a daughter and a son from his previous relationship. So he has 4 biological children. So when him and his wife split in 2003, he got remarried in 2017. His second wife is a doctor, actually, who he met in 2014. They have 2 children. She has 2 children from a previous relationship. But they recently just had a son together. And oddly enough, Brian McKnight has two sons named Brian. He has a son named Brian McKnight Jr., and then the son he just had with his current wife, they have a son together named Brian. But there's this weird Instagram post about one of the kid's birthday parties. This is his non-biological child's birthday party that has gotten people online going off. So this is what he said. He said, quote, "Today we celebrate you," the name of his child, "on your birthday. Your mom and I couldn't be proud of you and couldn't have asked for a better daughter than you. Happy birthday to the best daughter ever." So he does a hashtag and says, "I love our life." He talks about his world tour. He talks about, some other hashtags he uses. But the post has sparked so much controversy because it was originally posted by him in 2022. And it shows him with his stepdaughter posing in front of a car that he and his wife had given her for her birthday. He included the caption, "Today we celebrate you," yada, yada, yada. So the problem is that people are seemingly only just discovered this post because it came from 2022. So I was trying to figure out where did this come from? But the post erupted recently because they're mad that the post appears to ignore or forget his biological daughter, whose name is Brianna. And then furthermore, people have pointed out that his children, according to his bio, is further an acknowledgement that he is ignoring, quote unquote, his biological children. So he states that he's the husband of his wife, and he says that he's the father of his first two kids. Now, this hashtag reached number 13 on Twitter. It was hashtag Brian McKnight. He was trending on Twitter and the Shade Room, of course. People think it could be they're dramatizing it. It doesn't matter. But for whatever reasons, people are saying he's just straight trash. Now, I didn't know all of this. I was gagging. I was like, what is Brian McKnight doing? So I just, so I just don't get what, so let me just clarify some things. So people are saying basically that they found, what I've heard is that finding out, this is from a woman named Candice Marie Benbow on Twitter, Benbow, Benbow, not Benbow. Basically, she said on Twitter, "Finding out Brian McKnight is a terrible human being has been disappointing. I don't care how folks try to justify it. You don't disown your kids. You can choose not to deal with them, but they're still yours. And you don't pour salt in that wound on social media. May he rot." She said, and any person who can be with someone who doesn't take care of or acknowledge their children from a previous relationship is a person who bears watching. Because ain't no way. Facts. There's been so much speculation that, Brian has had an estranged relationship with his kids and other things. But I just was thinking to myself, that's just weird that this took place. That this even happened at the level that it did. It's just one of those issues that, I just, this says a lot for a lot of reasons. But Brian McKnight, but moving along, movies. I have seen some movies. Some of the movies I've seen, I can't tell you I've seen them technically because I'm embargoed. But what I will say is, I'm excited about The Little Mermaid. Just saying that in general. Did not say I watched it. Just said I'm excited about the movie. The commercials and the trailers have been great. I'm excited to see those vocals. Have you heard those vocals? They just released the song Part of Your World that is sung by Holly Bailey. I'm just having to get used to this Holly thing. Holly Bailey rather than Holly Berry, but Holly Bailey. Those vocals are everything. That soundtrack, when it comes out and when, I can hear it like everyone else, I would be super excited. But the Disney trailer looks very, very good and very insightful. I'm seeing Golden Globe nominations in his future, maybe a couple of Oscar nominations. I don't necessarily know, based off of looking at the trailer, if Holly is going to get an Oscar nomination, but maybe a Golden Globe nomination for Best Performance from a female actress in a musical comedy, a comedy or musical category. Maybe she could slide in there, perhaps. I don't know. The trailer looks like that. But it looks very exciting, and I can't wait to see what happens on May 26th, Friday. But it looks good. As far as music goes, Jack Harlow needs to hang it up. I don't know how I fell into this trap, but somehow that new Jack Harlow album played on one of my sound systems, my, what do they call them, playlists or something. It is trash. I didn't even know Jack Harlow was still trying to do music. After that whole First Class situation last year, he dropped that little song and that little album that everyone hyped up, and that shit was trash. I don't know why he's still rapping. Why is it still happening? You can't find another Lil Nas X song to exploit. I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. Thumbs down from me. But as far as TV goes, moving to TV, the Baddies reunion, oh my God, I cannot wait until it comes out. Can I just start by saying that they got Stevie J hosting the Baddies reunion? Now, y'all like, oh, Ernest, you and your trash TV again. Oh, fine, whatever. You know you watch it. Listen, Stevie J is hosting it. I was shook because in my mind, you know what this tells me? This doesn't tell me anything about his hosting ability because he's not a good host. But it tells me he's coming to Zeus. He's about to have a show. Jocelyn, the Puerto Rican princess, Jocelyn Hernandez. What's going on? Because you know Ballistic and her together, and they got their situations. I'm looking like, why are you coming over here, Stevie, why are you bothering Jocelyn? Listen, let me give Jocelyn all the credit. We would not have a Zeus without Jocelyn Hernandez coming in and stepping foot. And I also gotta give Nellie Nunchun her credit. Nellie Nunn. But Nellie Nunchun, she too. They're doing a Baddies East. Remember I told y'all they should do a Baddies East? Because they did West, they did South, now they're doing East. Okay? They're doing auditions in DC. Now listen, the crazy part about the Baddies auditions and all that is that they don't even pick hardly anyone from the auditions. Rarely. They'll probably pick 2 girls. And they're going to like have a recast and all these other people. So it's almost like they just want you to fight on TV. And the audition show is where you're going to get to be seen on camera, but you're not actually going to be part of the show. But when they come to Philly, not to audition, but when they come to Philly, because Miss Cat, she's from Philly. I want to see if they're going to make a big thing of this. Because I don't know. If the Baddies girls get their tour bus to Philadelphia, I need to meet Nelly in person. I'm going to lose my mind. I know that is not like goals for anyone else, but I just want to see her in person. I just want to be able to see I just want to say baddie shot o'clock. I'm not going to drink a shot, but I just want to see it all in action. But they was at the club on the finale last week and there was gunfire and I was kind of scared. But this reunion I'm excited about though. Stevie J, oh my God. Bad Boys Texas is everything. Okay, that's also another show on Zeus that I'm watching. The 2nd episode has happened, and I have so many questions more than answers. I'm still trying to figure myself out how I feel about the show. I mean, clearly I'm going to watch it, but I'm trying to debate, like, is Baddies, the show with the women, any different from, Bad Boys Club? I feel like Bad Boys, the boys get right to the punch. They go straight post. They're going for the fight. They're going for the juggler. They don't really play on there, in my opinion. So, big ups to them. Bel-Air had its finale, its season 2 finale, which was fire. It was good. It was good. Give Carlson an Emmy nomination or an NAACP award or a Golden Globe nomination, something. Can we give the actor who plays Carlson an award? Do I have to spearhead that committee? Who do I need to call? But he just steals the show each time. I know I say that, but like, oh my God, the finale was everything. And there is going to be a season 3. Thank God. But Bel-Air has been everything. And if you have not watched it, catch it up. Watch it on Peacock. I'm seeing so many people not watching good TV right now. Like Power, Book 2, Ghost. Like, listen. This show is, I think we got like 2 more episodes left. The most recent episode of this show, Ghost, that's on Stars. I love this show so much, I got a subscription on Stars. I am in awe of this plot line. Every time I watch this show, I think I know how it's going to play out. But then, listen, Miss Tejada, okay, Miss Tejada, Miss Mary J. Blige, okay, who plays this character. Let me tell you about her. You're not going to ever get her. You're never going to get her down. Okay, you're never gonna get her down. Okay, she gonna always find a way to get herself out some shit. Because I was like, she was in a situation where I was like, I don't know how you're gonna do this, girl, because I don't see it, sis. But Monet Tejada, baby, you don't mess with Monet Tejada. She is not here for the games. She will kill, and she will set people up to kill. She gonna fight her fights. I ain't gonna tell it, but if you watch the recent episode, she stirred that fucking pot and got her end. She gonna always get a way out. One of the most exciting characters on TV. I know people think she can't act, but I keep reminding you all, Mary J. Blige has an Oscar nomination, okay, Golden Globe, all of the ones, okay? Don't come for her acting. That's subtle acting. That's classic acting. Y'all don't know nothing about that. She's not giving you razzle dazzle. She give you subtlety. She's playing the best gangster on TV right now, and people need to give her respect. I'm all for it. Succession. You know what? You know, when I say things like we need to make sure that Carlson on Bel Air gets a nomination, when y'all are talking about Old Boy from Snowfall getting a nomination, and these are dramas on TV, I look and say to myself, I have to take a moment, right, and say, where do they fit in the categories when Succession is snatching all of the edges on TV right now? I don't know where to find them. This is some good, bad white TV. This is some good, evil white TV. Listen, these are the worst, most deplorable people on television. I cannot describe it. I don't like these people, but I enjoy them. I don't know. It's addicting. I can't describe it. In this episode, holy shit. Listen. I don't know how this is going to play out. I have a theory, but I don't want to spoil it. We're on episode 6? So we're like, oh my God, it's going to end this month. Do y'all know that? Are y'all ready for that? Succession is going to end this month. May is it, y'all. The end of May. The finale is going to be at the end of this month. Are we ready are we emotionally ready for the end of Succession? Because I'm not. I'm savoring it like a piece of chocolate. I'm watching each episode like more than once. It's just so damn good. Give them all the Emmys. I'm sorry. Just give them everything. I can't. It's just so good. It's just so good. I just wanted to say that. Also, in other news, before wrapping up, Noah's Ark is apparently coming back for a movie and maybe a TV show. If you've never heard of Noah's Ark, go to YouTube, look this up, watch Noah's Ark. It's a classic black gay television show that used to be on Logo. Where did Logo go? Maybe it's still around. Maybe I just don't know. But Logo was a show back in the day. I used to watch it when I was young and sneak and watch it because it was so explicit. But it was a good show that censored these black gay characters. And black and brown. They had Latinx characters in there too. It was a great show. The lead actor follows me. Noah's, the actual Noah, he follows me on Twitter. Yay! He's such a legend. And he is doing his thing, but yeah, they're going to come back with one. They had a movie they did, Noah's Ark film a while back. I think it was Jumping the Broom when they got married. But now they're doing another comeback. And I'm excited that a new generation of people can watch Noah's Ark. So we'll see. I think they're going to do a movie. They announced this, I think at the GLAAD Awards, or was it one of the awards? It was another, no. It was a queer awards or something like that. But they announced that this is coming back. So stay tuned for those who didn't know that. I'm excited. But before I conclude, there's a lot going on this week. I'm going to be doing an interview on Tuesday, May 2nd, Studio 2 with Cherry Gregg, talking about my book, The Case for Cancel Culture, because we still out here on the road. Going to Booker's this week, doing some summer previews of some spots, some hot spots that's going to be wild and loose this summer, but I'm getting a summer preview, so I'm going with some besties. We're going to hit up some rooftops. So if you're on Instagram and you see me at some hot rooftops, you know where I'm going to be at. I'm going to be with the crew. The Lit Brothers are going out. We're back outside. We're getting ready, not with my sneakers on, but you know how we do. But it's going to be a good time nonetheless. There's so many great things happening in the city in spite of all the political upheaval and madness. But, the countdown is here. I'm looking to see what other things are going to pop up out the blue. What big surprise is going to come 2 weeks before election. Who about to get got? What's the drama going to be? But as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.